So I was saying, here is, remember we were talking about a curriculum development team, right? That has done the needs assessment, they have discovered what the gap is, they have now come together, put materials together, the contents together. They have addressed whatever they wanted to address. So they have put the contents together. So here is materials. Here are materials that have been developed. So I am saying, when the materials have been developed, what you are supposed to find in the material is, one, it has to include the intended outcomes. If this is a curriculum that is targeting standard, the reception class, it has to have intended outcomes. By the time the preschool or the reception class is finishing, what is it that they must be able to do? So after going through this course, not this course, but this subject, students must be able to explain, must be able to list functions of sunlight, because you cannot discuss a question that is requiring to discuss from a child that is in preschool. Listing, naming, it is okay. Name this, list this, but you can't tell them to discuss because they are not yet there. So, in the material, let it have the intended outcomes. Students or learners must be able to list 3 functions of sunlight. And all the intended outcomes are supposed to be listed before each and every topic. When this topic is finished, the learner should be able to do A, B, C, D, E. These are intended outcomes. So when you write the intended outcomes, what should follow now should be the content, right? You have the intended outcome. Where are you going to get the intended outcomes from? After the teacher has taught the learners the content. But within the content, the development team is supposed to also outline what we are calling experiential methods. Methods of how the content is supposed to be delivered is supposed to be outlined in this as well. So that when a teacher somewhere else who was not part of the development team gets the materials, they should be able to say, okay, I am being called to teach students 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is how I am going to know that students have learned what I have taught them. And this is how I am supposed to teach them. So the experiential methods, intended outcomes, as well as content. So this group of developers are supposed to put content that is appropriate to age, according to level of difficulty, learner characteristic, and the intended outcomes. You're not going to ask for something that is of higher level to a baby class. So the contents are supposed to be arranged according to the learner characteristics. On that one, I am sure we are fine. I have got an example of a book, or part of a book, which I am going to send to the group, and I'm asking you to open it. I'm going to ask you questions on that one. Educational psychology, that's our group, eh? Okay. Can you open your phones? Don't mind the message that's coming under it, just look at the picture. You look at the picture, if you zoom it, read the contents that are found on that book. If you look at that, what do you think is the age group that is being targeted? If you look at the contents and everything else, or maybe let me just ask, when you look at that, what do you think is the age that is being targeted here?
18.
18 or above. Where is it? Same. All right. Wisdom. What is the target? 18. 18 and above. What makes you say so? Because of the nature of the material that is there, right? All right. If you say it's 18 and above, Bison, you're also agreeing.
Yeah.
If you say it is 18 and above, look at the way the letters have been written. Who writes a book that has got big letters for an 18-year-old? What does that tell? Looking at, forget about the content, look at the letters, look at the illustrations. Is that targeting an 18-year-old child? No, right? This is targeting a baby, someone who's young. Large prints, and even if when you look at the type of language that is being used, it is a simple language that a young mind is able to understand. But the content. This is called making love. Your dad moves. So you can see how this has been written. The simple English is targeting a young mind. The type, the size of the words is a young mind. Even the picture, it is targeting someone who is young. But the content is not appropriate. So when you're developing curriculum, it is very, very necessary to make sure that the contents have to be age appropriate. The level of difficulty. Are the children going to understand what you have put together? Because if they are not going to understand, the intended outcomes are not going to be achieved. But the first thing is, learner activities have to be outlined. We are targeting 2-year-olds. Is this going to be appropriate? So you can achieve other parts of the aspects to say illustration, very good. Simple English, very good. Content, 0. Because this is not an appropriate thing to be given to the young ones. So this is what we mean when we say selecting content. You need to look at various aspects of the content. That is why we are saying curriculum development is not an easy thing. There are a lot of things that have to be balanced. You can, the content can be good, but if the language that has been used is difficult, it is not going to be achieved as well. At the same time, the experiential methods, they should also be appropriate. You can't, there are ways you can teach the baby class. There are ways you can teach the middle class. There are ways you can teach the reception class because they are different ages, their understanding is different, their developmental levels are also different. So after the materials have been produced, everything else is in place. Then the next thing that is supposed to happen is now to implement the curriculum. So during the implementing process, you are supposed to, there are several things that are supposed to be done when you are implementing. But before implementation begins, these materials that have been implemented, that have been put together, not implemented, but that have been put together, they are supposed to be trained. People are supposed to be trained. But then you can't come up with a curriculum and then you bring all the teachers together at once. It's not possible. What do? You are going to select facilitators. So the first group that is supposed to be trained is the facilitators. Facilitators are going to be brought together and they're going to be told what is the curriculum all about. So you can have a group of these guys. You tell them as much as you can. Because it is going to be this group that is going to go out and teach a few teachers as well. So the facilitators are supposed to be given as much information as they can so that when they go teach the teachers, they should be able to answer questions that are going to come to them. So a group of facilitators is going to go out. When they go out, they are going to call out few teachers from schools, bring them together. These teachers are supposed to be taught. When they are taught, they will go back to their schools and teach the rest of the teachers that were remaining in the various schools, because you can't bring them all together. A group of facilitators teaching teachers that will teach other teachers later. So now the curriculum is ready to be implemented. So you can see that if the facilitators are not going to be told clearly what is expected of the teachers, then the rest of it is going to be useless. But the facilitators are supposed to be told exactly. This is why we also say that within the group of curriculum development team, teachers are also supposed to be there. All right? So at this point, it means we have got curriculum material that has been developed, right? From the time we started talking about choosing the developmental team, gap analysis and all that, needs analysis and everything else has to come together. You test it, you go back, make changes, and then eventually you've got a final material. So after the final material has been produced, teachers have been taught. The next thing is what? It has to be implemented. So when we are talking about curriculum implementation, we have moved from curriculum development, right? So we are now talking about curriculum implementation. What is curriculum implementation? This one refers to the act of working out the plans and the suggestions that have been made by the curriculum specialist. Working out the plans and suggestions that have been made by curriculum specialists. And subject experts. Act of working out the plans and suggestions that have been made by curriculum specialists and subject experts. In a classroom or school setting. In a classroom or school setting. Did I lose you? Yeah. Where? I have repeated which choir leader are you talking about? What is curriculum implementation? Yeah. I'm saying it refers to the act of working out. Refers to the act of working out the plans and suggestions that have been made by curriculum specialists and subject experts. Subject specialists and subject experts in a classroom or school setting. In a classroom or school setting. All right, so in other words, this is now the process of putting the formal curriculum into practice. After it has been developed, it has to formally now be put to practice. Sometimes the curriculum can be overhauled in total, everything else changed. So teachers are supposed to start afresh. Sometimes part of the curriculum changes, but also teachers are supposed to be told, or teachers are supposed to take up the new method of teaching or the new content that has been incorporated in the new curriculum. So this can be done as an in-service training. This can be done through in-service training. In-service training. Sometimes we can call it professional development, whereby you are developing professional. So curriculum implementation, or when the teachers are being taught how to teach the new curriculum, this can be done through the in-service training, whereby all the teachers are put together, fellow teachers are teaching them. So the training is happening internally. So this is what is known as the in-service training. What is the training about? The training is telling the teachers or highlighting the areas that have changed, whether it's part change or whether it's a whole change, a total change of the curriculum, but it can be done through that. And again, apart from in-service training, there could also be new textbooks that can be developed. So implementation should be done by teaching the teachers of the new changes through in-service training, but at the same time the provision of new textbooks, new teaching and learning materials, resources, and other guidelines. Alright, so when we are talking about curriculum implementation, we are now at the stage whereby we are referring to how the planned or the official designed course is translated by the teacher into what we call syllabus, schemes of work, as well as lesson plan. So when I wish I could be writing. When the materials have been put together, now we are at the stage of implementing. We are saying the teachers that have taught the other teachers are supposed to teach them through in-service training, where they can be introduced to new textbooks, they can be introduced to new learning as well as teaching materials or methods, resources, and other guidelines. So now it is in the hands of a teacher. When the teacher is implementing this formal curriculum, how does she or he do it? They are going to do it through the use of schemes and records of work. Do we know what a schemes and records of work is? We do, right? Yes. This is a booklet whereby a teacher is supposed to write the whole term's work, whereby it is divided in weeks. This week, this is how much I am going to do. I am going to teach this topic, and I want my learners to achieve A, B, C, D, E. So on the other side, you also are going to make an evaluation. Did you teach what you were supposed to teach? What are the learners now able to do? So it is a 1 week plan of work, but then it covers the whole term. So teachers are supposed to have these schemes and records of work. But apart from schemes and records of work, they are also supposed to have lesson plans, whereby now lesson plans are daily planning. Every day, I am teaching about the sunlight, but today specifically about the sun, what am I teaching? So the curriculum is supposed to be translated into a syllabus, schemes of work, and a lesson plan. We are together there, right? So when this has happened, when the curriculum has been translated into a syllabus, schemes of work, lesson plan, it is now then when it is brought into existence. The curriculum that was developed by other people, it is now going to be brought to existence. It is now going to be implemented. It is now working. So teachers are the main curriculum implementers, while at the same time, students, parents, school administrators, they can also be directly or indirectly involved in curriculum implementation. So the most person that is very crucial, as far as curriculum implementation is concerned, it is the teacher. So here is a curriculum material somewhere, and then there is a teacher, and then you've got a learner. At the end of the learner, what do we have? Intended outcomes. So the whole purpose of developing the curriculum material, it is because we want to see the intended outcomes. But the one that's right in the middle, which is the crucial part, it is the teacher. If the teacher is not going to translate well the curriculum material, the student is not going to receive the right content, and the intended outcomes are not going to be achieved. So therefore, the development team can do a very great job. But if the teacher is not conversant, then everything else in the system has crashed. So teachers are very important in as far as curriculum development is concerned. So that is why during the phase where development of the curriculum is happening, teachers are supposed to also be part of it, because they are the ones that are on the ground. You can have someone from the the health sector. You can have someone from another department coming together because you are trying to address different issues. Remember, we talked about climate issues, health issues, right? Religious issues. So your team of developers has got all these people. But yes, these guys have got information on how religious issues are going, on how the weather is changing, on how diseases are being spread. But now, the one that's on the ground, who is going to be able to tell it to the learners, it is a teacher who has got experience. So in the team of developers, a teacher has to be there because he or she is going to provide better ways of how this information can be told to the children. Imagine you are developing a curriculum whereby you're talking about sound. You're talking about sound, and here are people that know about sound, and they are bringing in information. But then here is a teacher who knows, okay, how do I teach sound to a child who is deaf? So what is going to be the contribution of the teacher? When it comes now to the point where they are supposed to come up with experiential methods, remember, the teacher is going to come in to say, okay, this is how we can teach sound to someone who doesn't hear. You are talking about something that requires eyes. These people are going to put the materials together, but the teacher is going to be in a position to say, this is how we teach blind children. So during this stage, the teacher is going to now contribute on the experiential methods. Remember, we said every topic, every content has to come with how it is supposed to be taught. So the teacher is going to come in with that because they have got the experience. So you can already see that as you are bringing in expert subject teachers, you should also take them from various fields. You take them from institutions where they deal with children with disabilities. You take them from other institutions, and they should be part of the developing team. So my point is, there is a curriculum, there is a teacher, there is a learner, and there are intended outcomes. For the intended outcomes to be achieved, the teacher has to be in a position to interpret well what the curriculum material is saying. For this teacher to be able to do that, then he should have been taught properly by the facilitators. Okay, so apart from the teacher being the main person who takes part in the implementation of the curriculum, we are saying students are also part of it. The community at large is also part of it. School administrators, they are also directly or sometimes indirectly concerned. So it could be a very beautiful question if I would ask you to say, explain or discuss how students, school administrators, or parents could be directly or indirectly involved in you're putting it down.
Discuss what?
With examples. Discuss clearly how students, school administrators, or parents can be directly or indirectly involved in the implementation process. Huh? What have you written? Discuss with examples how students, school administrators, parents can be part of or can be directly or indirectly involved in the implementation process, the curriculum implementation process. Process. It is just a suppose. I'm not saying it's coming, I'm just saying suppose. But it's okay, so that you should be able to, during your other time, you can make discussions out of that. Yeah. So, we are saying implementation needs agents. One biggest or huge agent in the implementation is the teacher. Implementation is a manner in which the teacher selects and mixes the various aspects of knowledge contained in the curriculum document or syllabus. So, how the teacher is going to translate or is going to mix the information that is found in the syllabus matters. There are other teachers that are teachers because they are standing in front of the class and they are telling the class what they are supposed to. But there are other teachers whereby when you sit in their classroom, you actually know this one is a teacher. So, implementation is the manner in which the teacher selects and mixes the various aspects of knowledge contained in a curriculum document or a syllabus. So you will see that other teachers, they go beyond what has been written. Others will simply come to you and read what has been written. The rest, you will discover it yourself. Others will actually teach you, but also help you to start thinking in other avenues. Let us look at factors that influence curriculum implementation. What are the factors that influence curriculum implementation? The first factor is the teacher. The first factor is the teacher. So, teachers select and decide what to teach from the prescribed syllabus or curriculum. Teachers, they are going to choose or select what to teach from what has been prescribed. You know, teachers can kill. I have been given the work of teaching you what we are learning right now. But then, suppose I am teaching and I am not conversant with the rest of the material. What will I do? I will choose here and there and there. Will you be able to know whether I have left out things? Maybe at this stage, yes. But we are talking about the young ones. They won't know. So, the teacher has got a very big role whereby they are supposed to teach what has been prescribed in the curriculum or in their syllabus. But if the teacher is not conversant, they are not going to teach accordingly. role of a teacher in implementing, apart from deciding what to teach from the prescribed syllabus or curriculum? What else? They are able to translate the curriculum into reality. The role of a teacher, apart from choosing what to teach, they are also there to translate the curriculum into reality. So it is very, very important that a teacher should understand the curriculum document so that he should implement it effectively. Apart from choosing what to teach, the teacher also translates the curriculum into reality. Therefore, it is imperative that the teacher should be conversant with the curriculum. So the first factor that affects implementation of curriculum is the teacher, right? So my next question is, what is the importance of teacher involvement in curriculum development? The importance of teacher involvement in curriculum development. We are back now. Why is it important that teachers should be part of the curriculum development team? Alright, so teachers have got knowledge, they have got experiences, as well as their competences, which can be of help in the building of curriculum. Using the teacher's knowledge, their competences, their experiences, that should be part of the team where curriculum development is concerned, because their experience, their knowledge, their competences is going to be used in one way or the other. And again, the ideas of the teachers are supposed to be incorporated into the curriculum. Their ideas are supposed to be incorporated into the curriculum, knowing that teachers are part of the environment that affects curriculum. The ideas of a teacher are supposed to be incorporated into the curriculum, knowing that teachers are part of the environment that affects curriculum. Okay, so in the process of curriculum development, like I said, not all teachers are going to be part of it, because it's going to be a big team that is going to achieve nothing by the end of the day. But how can you make all teachers to be conversant with the new curriculum that has been developed? It is through what we call professional development. PD, professional development. What is this? The in-service trainings, whereby teachers, they have been to college, yes, they've got their certificates, their degrees, yes, but time and again, they sit down to go through a specific training in specific areas. This is professional development. What is happening? They are trying to get themselves, they are bracing the changes that are happening in their profession. So, curriculum implementation is going to go hand in hand with professional development activities whereby teachers are going to be exposed to training. They are going to be taught how the new curriculum is supposed to be implemented. Would you support the idea of empowering teachers to make sure that curriculum implementation has to go smoothly? Would you support the idea of empowering teachers to make sure that they should participate in the curriculum development so that everything else has to go on smoothly? Okay, does your yes have reasons? It is the teacher that is in the class